What's going on, everybody? Welcome. This is how to make six figures reselling iPhones, the audiobook, the podcast version. So I put everything into just one episode right here so you guys can get the game and the information to help you get into the phone flipping business. So let's get it started. How to make six figures reselling iPhones. Hanny, discover the secrets of iPhone flipping. I want to give some thank yous first. Thanks to my mentor, Mubarak Nagasigurije, for believing in me and telling me, you need to write this book to be able to inspire and help other people who are getting into the business. I want to also give a thank you to my parents, my mom, for, being a hard worker and always instilling that mindset that you have to be a go-getter early on to the things that I'm doing right now and wanting to make an impact on other people. So let's get it started. Introduction. Welcome to the world of iPhone reselling, an entrepreneur's journey that blends challenge, strategy, and immense opportunity. This comprehensive guide spread across 13 transformative chapters, crafted to make you from a novice to mastery in the thriving marketplace. As you first navigate through this book, you'll gain essential knowledge from Hanny's inspiring leap into reselling to understanding market articles through negotiating. These initial insights are your stepping stones in reselling universe. With continued application, these principles evolve into a sophisticated tapestry of skills, being from fundamental inventory management to sophisticated tactics like effective advertising and market expansion. This journey, diligently pursued, elevate you from part-time interest to achieving entrepreneurial sovereignty, liberating from confirmation employment. The chapters unfold in a strategically designed sequence, beginning with a market understanding, paving the way through the nuances of deals, and climaxing in mastery of diversified markets. This deliberate arrangement is pivotal. Each chapter lays a foundation upon which the next builds, ensuring a deep, holistic comprehension of the reselling domain. Embrace this journey with dedication and witness a transformation that transcends the boundaries of mere profit making, steering you towards true entrepreneurship freedom. This is not just about reselling iPhones, it's about rewriting your professional destiny. Chapter 1. Hanny's journey from multiple jobs to iPhone reselling. My journey into entrepreneurship began around 5 years ago. Growing up with just my mom, I always felt a strong need to support her. This sense of responsibility kicked in early. By 16, I was already working. My career began with a cleaning job, followed by shifts at McDonald's and later DoorDash. Thought I enjoyed video games. School didn't capture my interest. I often skipped classes to work or help my mom, believing that the school system failed to foster independent thinking and didn't align with my interests. Despite being an introvert and staying clear of the party scene, I always believed I had a unique gift. After graduating high school in 2018, I started exploring different opportunities. The pandemic hit, and I found myself at home, searching for ways to earn extra money. I was tired of working for others and yearned for something more. That's when I stumbled upon Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad. This book was a turning point, introducing me to concepts like working for money, but instead of investing in stocks and real estate and financial literacy, motivated by Kiyosaki's teaching, I drove headfirst into the stock market, witnessing my investments double. However, I yearned for another source of income. While exploring e-commerce and Shopify, I stumbled upon the idea of reselling iPhones. I started small, selling an iPhone 8 Plus and an iPhone 6s that I had in my room. The quick sale of an iPhone 8 Plus for $250 sparked the realization. I decided I take this venture seriously, and my efforts paid off. From the initial $365 earned from both phones, I grew my capital to over $2,000 in just 1 month, making the beginning of a new entrepreneurial chapter. So that right there is my introduction a little bit. People don't know I started this business with literally $365. So when I tell people like you can start with little money and but it comes down to really just mindset. You see, the last 5 years, Rich Dad Poor Dad transformed my mindset. If it wasn't for that book, I wouldn't be the man I am today. So my journey has been, I'm big into personal development and becoming the man I am today. So let's dive deep into chapter 2. Understanding the resale market, a personal insight. The resale market operates on a simple yet potent principle. Buy low, sell high. This fundamental strategy is a cornerstone of various sectors, including the stock market, real estate, and retail giants like Walmart. In my journey, I discovered that the key to success in this domain is volume. By maintaining a large inventory, I could emulate the profitable models of these large companies. Understanding and leveraging these concepts was crucial for my success in the resale market. In the early stages of my resale venture, I adapted an aggressive strategy, reaching out to 30 to 50 potential sellers daily on platforms like Kijiji. This persistence paid off when I encountered a seller offering 3 phones. The transaction, smooth and successful, laid the foundation for trust-based relationship with the seller, who later revealed a stock of 50 to 80 devices from a movie project offered me a lucrative opportunity. Strategic acquisition and negotiating. Seizing this chance, I negotiated to purchase the phones, primarily older models like iPhone 6s, 7s, and 8s at a price significantly lower than their market value. Buying these phones for $10 to $20 each when they were worth $100 to $150 in the market presented an incredible return on investment. Strategic acquisition not only demonstrated by my negotiating skills, but also highlighted the importance of identifying and capitalizing on opportunities in the resale market. Lessons learned and strategic strategies for success. The overreaching lesson from this experience is the importance of being proactive, persistent, and willing to take calculated risks. While luck plays a role, consistent effort and commitment to building a substantial inventory are key. By focusing on accumulating a large stock, I was able to significantly reduce the time spent sourcing products. Instead of constraining or selling and reaping profits, this approach is a testament to efficiency, a volume in the resale market, and serves as a guiding strategy for aspiring resellers like myself. So that right there is a great example. So I'm going to break down chapter 2. I found this guy off Kijiji. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people forget this idea of you have to be persistent in business. If you want anything, it comes down to how many activities are you doing? Because if we're not doing any type of activities, especially in the phone flipping business, if we're not out there reaching the 50 to 100 people a day, we're not going to see any type of returns, right? So here, when I was first getting started, I was very hungry. I was determined to contact a lot of people because I found out that, you see, business is a contact sport. The more people you contact, it's like a lottery, right? The more you start throwing, eventually you're going to land on something big, right? But luck, you see, is an intersection with opportunity meets preparation. So if you're prepared, you're going to see gain. So right there, I found a guy off Kijiji. I was just messaging 100 people in a day on Facebook as well too. But I found this one guy who was able to sell me, 50 to 100 devices just off one dude. We were able to build a relationship. After that, I was able to make a big profit just because I was buying them for a very, very good price, $10 to $20 each. You can't beat that. That's like a great ROI. I remember I was buying phones for $20, reselling them for about $130. So think about my ROI there. It's massive. I was making at least $80 profit off each phone. So that month alone, I remember I did like $15,000 in the business. I was able to scale up so fast because I found that one person. So this goes back to relationship works, but you have to nurture them. You have to do activities in the business, be able to get that. So let's dive deep into chapter 3. Getting started, initial steps, establishing your platform and starting small. When starting in the phone buying and selling journey, the initial step is to choose a platform for your transactions. Facebook Marketplace and Kijiji are excellent choices for beginners. It's wise to start small to grasp market dynamics. A good initial target is the iPhone 8. Aiming to buy at a cost that enables profitable resale. For example, purchasing an iPhone 8 for $70 to $100 and selling it for around $150 to $190 can yield a decent profit margin. Beginners should focus on quick turnovers instead of waiting for large profits, allowing for reinvestment into the next purchase and keeping the inventory and profits flowing. Inspecting your first purchase. Once you've acquired your first phone for resale, conducting a thorough inspection is crucial. Meeting in public places like coffee shop or McDonald's ensures safety. At the meeting, verify the phone's condition, matches its advertisements. Additionally, check the phone's IMEI number using a checker like SIGW or other online tools. This step confirms the phone's make, model, and status, including its unlocked or blacklisted status. Passing this check signifies a successful first purchase for resale. Listing and selling the phone. The subsequent step is to list the phone for resale. With platforms like Facebook Marketplace or Kijiji being ideal, patience is essential. During this phase, it may take some time to find a buyer. To increase your ad's visibility, repost it regularly and consider joining Facebook groups related to the phone's sales. These tactics improve exposure and the likelihood of faster sale. Finalizing the sale and repeating the process. When a potential buyer expresses interest, arrange a meeting in a public place to finalize the sale. Buyers often request a SIM card check to verify the phone's functionality. Allow them to test the phone thoroughly to ensure a smooth transaction. After completing the sale, the focus returns to sourcing the next phone. Continuously repeating this cycle of buying, inspecting, listing, and selling is key to gradually increasing your profits in the phone resale business. So let's break down chapter 3, right? So pretty much, when you're first getting started in this business, I think a lot of people who are just getting started, they forget this, they just buy phones randomly, right, without inspecting it. So whenever you're buying stuff online, you always want to, check the make, the model, and the IMEI number. So before we talk to a seller, or especially if we're using platforms like Facebook and Kijiji to make offer ups, we want to get the IMEI number. This is going to tell us if the phone is blacklisted, if it's locked, or if it's iCloud unlocked, right? We always want to check these things before we buy any device, right? So once we make those things checked off, right? Once the iCloud is good, the IMEI is clean, when we go to meet the seller, we have to confirm those things are good, right? And then we got to check the speaker, the Face ID, right? Make sure that phone makes a phone call, right? So once you do these things, now you can secure this device and be able to buy it, right? And you also make sure that, when you negotiate for a certain price online, you can go in person and talk to this person once you see the phone condition, because you don't want to, lowball the person online. Once you get there, then you want to be able to look at the phone, then be able to give them a better price. So always make sure to run the IMEI number. Always make sure to do the diligence before you buy anything. Let's dive deep into Chapter 4. Chapter 4, Negotiating and Finding Deals. Section 1, The Art of Speedy Offers. When you're looking for a phone and negotiating, the key is speed. For example, when making offers, I usually message people by saying, if the phone is going for $380, I aim to get it 50 to 100 below market price. So I would say, $250 cash? Can I pick up right away? This emphasizes speed, letting the other person know you're serious and want to buy now. Offering cash is preferable, as many sellers opt for cash over transfers. If they counter offer, say $300, I would agree and then set up to meet. The strategy here is to act quickly and decisively, showing the seller that you're a serious buyer ready for a prompt transaction. Section number 2, Building rapport and listening. During the meeting, your goal is to get to know the seller. This approach stems from Dale Carnegie's teaching in How to Win Friends and Influence People. Show genuine interest in the seller, as this can influence the negotiation positively. While engaging with them, inspect the device for any scratches or dents. If you find any, try to negotiate at a lower price. Most of the time, displaying the cash and stating it's all you have can work in your favor, especially if you made the seller comfortable and establish a connection. Section 3, Networking and future opportunities. Always leave a business card or your phone number at the end of transaction. This isn't just about the current deal, but about building a network for future sales. When sellers have other devices to sell, they're more likely to contact you first. Networking ensures a continuous flow of deals and helps you establish a presence in the market. It's about creating a long-term relationships that can lead to more opportunities. Section 4, Communication skills and market strategies. Effective communication is a skill that improves your experience. As you deal with more customers and sell more phones, these interactions become second nature. Sometimes buying a device at or above market price can be profitable. As mentioned in the previous chapter, the key is to move the phone quickly and not get emotionally attached. As a reseller, your goal is to flip devices for profit and repeat the process, maintaining a focus on efficiency and profitability in your transactions. So that right there is chapter 4, right? So I'm pretty much breaking down that in this business, it's about speed, right? It's about how many offers can you send out there to sellers, because at the end of the day, we don't want to wait too long, right? So for example, if we're negotiating for a phone, right, the seller doesn't want to come down, we have to go in person to be able to, because like I said, Dale Carnegie talks about this. You want to go in person, meet the person, right, get to know them a little bit, find out who they are, right, do a little bit of prospecting in person, get to know them, right, find out why they're selling the phone, right, the emotional aspect to it, because online, we don't really know what the person thinks of us, right, but once we're in person, we're able to sort of, I like to call it body language. We can see what the person is actually saying, right? So you always want to sort of go in person and meet the seller to finalize the deal, right? And like I said, in this business, it's all about, leaving a stamp. So business cards are going to help a lot. But I've also realized too, once you get the person's number, I like business cards, but another step is being able to get the person's phone number and email, right? So you can follow up with them in the future. We could talk about things like, having a CRM system, where now, once you get the person to sell you the device or you buy a phone, right, put them into your CRM system so you can follow up in 30 days. Because remember, we're not just looking to buy one device. We're looking to buy 5 to 10 devices, because we're thinking long term, right? If you're in this business for long term, because the iPhone 17 is coming out next year, right? So you know that people are going to look to upgrade. So you want to stay in touch with them. You want to get their business cards, their information, right? So you don't want to leave empty handed. You want to get their contacts and put them into a CRM tool where you can be able to track it and not just, leave it anywhere else. So that's very important. Always make sure to get the seller to give you their contact information. Let's dive deep into chapter 5. Chapter 5, Inventory Management and Buying Broken Phones. Number 1, importance of tracking sales and purchases. In the early stages of reselling business, tracking of each sale and purchase is crucial. This historical data provides a clear picture of your business activities. For instance, if you're making $3,000 a month, knowing the profit margin for each transaction is essential. Similarly, when purchasing items like an iPhone for $150, detailed recording allows you to evaluate potential profits when it comes to reselling. Tools like Apple's Notes can be invaluable for staying organized and observing the progress of buying and selling activities. This data becomes a foundation for decision making, especially if you're considering reselling as a full-time endeavor. Number 2, the decision to buy broken phones. One common question for beginners is whether to purchase broken phones initially. It's advisable to focus on flipping functional devices to generate income. My personal journey started with just flipping, but soon I noticed a high demand for repairs as many customers had broken devices. Recognizing that people frequently break their phones, I saw an opportunity in learning repair skills. Initially, I used resources like YouTube tutorials to learn. The investments in repair tools include a heat pad and a toolkit totaling around $100 allowed me to start practicing on older models. This phase requires patience, persistence, and mastering repairs takes time and practice. Number 3, advantage of repairing and flipping broken phones. Repairing and flipping broken phones can significantly increase profit margins. For example, acquiring a broken phone at a low cost, spending about $30 on a screen, and flipping it can yield a profit of $100 to $200 per phone. Moreover, offering a repair service adds another revenue stream. Depending on the phone model and the year, repair charges can range from $50 to $400. As your skills in repair improve, this service can attract more customers, contributing to growth of your business. It's important to note that repairs typically take 25 to 40 minutes and can earn you an additional $50 to $100 per job. Number 4, transitioning to full-time with enhanced skills. Starting with buying and selling a strategic approach to accumulate capital. As you hone your reselling skills, integrating phone repairs into your business model can be a game changer. Once proficient in repairs, you might consider transitioning to a full-time reselling and repair business. This expansion not only broadens your customer base, but also enhances your service offerings, making your business more versatile and profitable. Remember, mastering the art of reselling is a stepping stone to successfully incorporating repair service into your business model. So yeah, that right there is chapter 5, man. I'm pretty much telling you that, you see, a lot of people think that you need to learn how to do repairs, right? But you actually don't have to. You could just, you could focus on buying and selling first, understanding the fundamental, because, in business, the fundamental is buying and selling. If you can learn how to buy something for $100, resell it for $200, you just made $100 profit. But of course, if you want to take it to the next level, then you can start doing repairs. And I always advise that you can go on YouTube and learn how to do repairs. For me, I went on YouTube, searched up how to do repairs on iPhone 6s and 7s. I bought a bunch of broken phones from somewhere outside, and I was able to get them, and then I was able to sort of learn how to do repairs, right? So you can always do that, right? Or you can even buy broken phones from customers, right? And just pretty much just practice on those, right? You don't got to spend too much money. You can spend like $50 getting repair tools, $50 to $100 on repair tools. You need a heat pad, right? Some, repair tools, and you pretty much get to go, and you can start repairing right away, right? And like I said, nothing happens over time. The more practice you do, the more repetition, the better you're going to get over time. So if you want to be able to scale your business, offering us a repair service is going to be immaculate. It's going to help you a lot, especially to scaling. So let's go into chapter 6, profit margin, small gains. A strategy for quick flips. Look at this example. Selling 10 phones at $50 profit each results in total gain of $500. Alternatively, you might have an iPhone 11 purchased for $270 with a resale value for $380. You're offered $300, which is a quick $30 profit. The temptation might be to wait for a higher offer, say $320, but the key is to flip the phone quickly. This strategy of rapid turnover and reinvestment is essential for long-term success. It's not about the highest profit per item, but the cumulative gain through the volume and speed, capital and inventory management. If you have more capital and a good inventory, your approach can be slightly different. For instance, if you acquire a 12 Pro Max for $500 below its market value of $700 and receive an offer of $550, it might be wise to wait for a better price. This scenario is applicable when you're confident in your purchase price and demand for items. Here, patience can be yielded a large profit. However, this requires a keen sense of market value and negotiating skills, emotional detachment and strategy. The most important aspect of reselling is to remain emotionally detached from the items. Your goal is to make a profit, not to become attached to the inventory. By moving inventory quickly and continuously reinvesting in the new items, you differentiate yourself in the market. The principle is simple. You make money when you buy, not when you just sell. This strategy requires a good understanding of market prices and the ability of negotiating effectively. Remember, consistent small gains are the foundation of successful reselling business. So Let me break down chapter 6. Pretty much what I'm saying here is that you don't need to focus on making a lot of money when you're first getting started, right? The goal is you want to have, I like to call it velocity of money, right? So say, for example, you're starting off with like $100, right? How can you take $100 and turn that into 150? That should be your goal, right? And so, you could buy phones like iPhone 8, for $70, like I was talking about in the last chapter, right? And be able to resell it, right? So once you buy an iPhone 8 for 100, sell it for 150, now you can take that 150 and reinvest that back into more phones, right? So we don't need to focus on making big profits in the beginning, right? Of course, if we buy something for a very good price, then we can hold on to our phones, right? But always remember, the goal is to be able to flip, right? Is being able to, compound your money over time, right? And not really focusing on being emotionally attached to the device, because that's when you really can lose it in this game, right? You might see that you have a brand new, iPhone 16. You might think, oh, that's a nice phone. But remember, we're in the business of buying and selling. We're not in the business of holding product, right? We're in the business of moving product, being able to get our money quick, being able to buy more inventory, because at the end of the day, money is a tool, right? It's a transaction. So that's chapter 6. Let's dive deep into chapter 7. Chapter 7, the power of buying in bulk. Section 1, the importance of ample inventory. In the realm of phone reselling, having a lot of inventory is crucial. I achieved this by connecting with other local resellers. It's about finding someone willing to sell you a large quantity of phones for a modest profit, a practice known as wholesaling. Many companies engage in this by supplying their products to smaller businesses or other resellers. This approach not only boosts your inventory, but also helps in establishing a solid foundation for your business in the market. Section number 2, advantages of bulk purchasing. Many beginners in this field focus slowly on individual purchases like buying from Facebook Marketplace, neglecting the power of bulk buying. Purchasing bulk, although slightly more expensive initially, offers 3 key advantages. It saves time by acquiring multiple units at once, still allows for a profitable margin, and importantly, it lays the groundwork for future business with wholesalers. This strategy ensures a steady supply and can be more efficient than sourcing phones individually. Section number 3, building connections and trust. Building connections with other resellers is more than just about business transaction. It's about trust. Whether your contacts are in Toronto, Los Angeles, or elsewhere, being reliable and honest buyer is crucial. Once you've established trust, these sellers will likely contact you first for future deals. The level of trustworthiness is invaluable in the reselling community and sets you apart as a preferred buyer. Section 4, expanding your business reach. Engaging in bulk purchases is a strategic move to expand your business reach. It not only provides a consistent inventory, but also opens up opportunities to tap into different markets. Sustaining these relationships can lead to exclusive deals and better prices over time. The key is to maintain these connections, honor your commitments, and be steady, reliable buyer. This approach builds sustainable and profitable models in the phone trading business. So that right there is chapter 7. I'm pretty much talking about how to buy phones in bulk, right? And here's the thing. In this business, it's all about, connections and building relationships, right? If you go out there, connect with many people as you can. And here's the thing. A lot of people always ask me, like, how do you get so many phones? What do you buy? Who can I connect with? At the end of the day, you can go out there, right? Connect with people who are in your committee. I work with a lot of vendors in my city. I work with big companies and corporations. And all I do is cold outreach. I go out there, I message these big companies and say, hey, I'm a business. I like to buy phones. Can you refer me to someone that's looking to sell phones, or do you know anyone looking to sell, right? So I'm always asking people, right? And I do this as well to across the globe. I contact people in the US, I have people in Montreal and Toronto. I have a lot of suppliers all over the city because I know how to, build relationships. I know how to get conversations started. So if you're an introvert, if you're someone who's shy, who doesn't want to talk to anybody, then, this business is going to be very tough. You have to go out there, talk to as many people as you can, because at the end of the day, wholesalers are willing to work with you, right? There's a lot of people out there who are willing to build relationships because, if you can get product from one person, one distributor, and be able to get 50 to 100 phones, that's saving you a lot of time, right? Instead of going on marketplace and negotiating all day, spending hours and hours, if you can just get product and inventory and be able to just move them right away, it's much quicker. So I probably say you have to go out there, build connections, and, make them genuine, right? It's not just about buying 1 or 2 phones, but it's about having consistent inventory to be able to scale up over time, right? So let's get to chapter 8. Chapter 8, handling setbacks and learning from failures. 1, embracing the challenge of reselling. Entering the reselling business requires perseverance and resilience. In this chapter, I share the valuable lessons I learned from my early failures, aiming to save you from similar pitfalls. When I started, my desperation for profit led me to ignore red flags from customers, a mistake that cost me not just financially, but also in terms of safety and trust. This experience underscores the importance of and discriminate in the business dealing, especially when starting out. Number 2, learning from losses. I faced significant setbacks, including being robbed 3 times. These incidents range from losing $50 to devastating $5,000 loss. The most painful was a betrayal by a childhood friend, which led to a dramatic robbery. These experiences, while harrowing, served as a crucial lesson. They taught me about the importance of trust and caution in business interactions. Reflecting on these setbacks, I realized that the pursuit of profit should never compromise personal safety and ethics. Number 3, the turning point, reflection and growth. After these setbacks, I considered quitting. The fear and trauma were overwhelming. However, reading Ryan Holiday's The Obstacles is the Way provided me with a new perspective. It taught me that obstacles and setbacks are not just barriers, but opportunities for growth and resilience. This change in mindset was pivotal. I learned to transform these negative experiences into lessons, making smarter decisions about whom to trust and how to conduct my business. Number 4, moving forward with wisdom and strength. These experiences reshaped my approach to reselling business. I became more cautious, verifying potential buyers' credibility and insisting on public meetings. I also learned the value of inviting customers to me, enhancing safety and efficiency. Moreover, these setbacks fueled my determination. Rather than seeing the loss as a defeat, I used as a motivation to double my efforts, turning a significant loss into substantial gain the following month. This journey, fraught with challenges, has been an invaluable part of my entrepreneurial growth. So that right there is chapter 8. Wins and losses are part of the game, so be ready to face challenges, because like in anything in business, you're going to face challenges, right? But it's about enduring. It's about, having that mindset of never giving up, because, when things do get hard, how do you sort of pick yourself back up? And so in this example, I lost the most I've ever lost was like $50,000. I got robbed where, someone that I knew very close, they set me up, I got robbed with a gun to my face, and 2 people wanted to almost, shoot me in that instance, right? But luckily I was able to escape, right? I was able to give them everything that I had. So you always have to think about the downside of this business too, which is like, if you're not cautious about who you're dealing with, if you let your guard down, people can try to test you like anything else, right? So I always say, when you're meeting customers, always make sure to meet at a public location, whether it's Subway, McDonald's, right? Even at a police station would be the best place to meet. So if someone is giving you red flags, they want to meet you in a back alley, or they say, come meet me over here, right? You always want to have a place where it's safe, where there's a lot of people, right? Where people could see you. So that's what I could say, like I said, those losses that I took, I looked at them as lessons and I kept moving forward. And, that the greatest thing that happened to me there was I realized, okay, maybe I'm chosen to go through this process. I was reading a lot of Ryan Holiday's books. The Obstacle is the Way. I probably really recommend anybody who's going through challenges to understand that you can always persevere, because Stoicism teaches that a lot. It's about how do you sort of overcome those challenges and use your mindset to sort of give you that anything is possible, right? Yeah. So let's get into chapter 9. Chapter 9, Trade plus Cash, the secret to getting phones cheap. Number 1, introduction to trade plus cash strategy. The concept of trade plus cash is a powerful strategy for acquiring phones at a lower prices. Let's delve into an example to illustrate this approach. Suppose a customer owns an iPhone 13, currently valued between $750 to $850 in the market. Often these customers reach out to me for trade because I advertise that I accept trade plus cash deals. Most of the time, these people aren't looking to upgrade. They're in urgent need of cash. I refer to them as desperate sellers, crucial term in the art of negotiating. Number 2, negotiating the trade, the art of the deal. For instance, if I'm selling an iPhone 11 valued at $380 in the marketplace and a customer wants to trade their iPhone 14 for it, I see an opportunity. Since the iPhone 14 has a higher market value, I aim to pay the least possible cash. In such scenarios, I might negotiate to acquire the iPhone 14 for $500 to $600, adding $220 in cash. However, here's the trick. The seller thinks they're getting $600, but they're unaware of my actual cost for the iPhone 11. All thought I listed it at $380, I might have acquired it for just $150. This means effectively I'm getting the iPhone 14 for about $450 once the trade is finalized. I can make a profit of $300 to $350 since the iPhone 14 can be resold for $750 to $850. Number 3, assessing the value of making profits. This technique can be applied to any devices, but the real deal must be logical, and you should be prepared to offer cash. That's also essential to assess the value of the phone you are receiving. Sometimes people offer phones with broken screens as a trade to upgrade to another model. In such cases, I might pay $50 to $100 for an iPhone 11. with the remaining costs going towards repairs. Repairs costs usually range from $30 to $80, but you need the skills to fix phones. As I mentioned in previous chapters, this skill is another avenue to earn extra money and secure great deals. Number 4, leveraging repairs and standing out in the marketplace. In my advertisements, I mentioned this option to see what kind of phones people offer. Sometimes I might have paid a higher price for a phone, but a trade can help me acquire below market value or just break even, ultimately leading to more profit. In conclusion, not everyone engages in trades, but understanding out in the marketplace is crucial. Understanding the secret behind a trade plus cash transaction can be significantly advantageous. So that right there is pretty much chapter 9, right? I'm breaking down trade plus cash. This is another great way to be able to buy phones at a cheap discounted prices, right? Because oftentimes, customers, if they're looking to upgrade, it's your sort of, you have a way to sort of, make better profits on the phone that you're selling them, right? Because if you buy at a good price, then you'll be able to sort of get at a better price. So, trade plus cash works, especially if someone is looking to just, get any kind of price for your phone. Always, make sure you understand how much you bought the phone for. So when you're doing a trade plus cash, to know how much the person's phone's value as well is, right? So, but people are looking to do trade plus cash because they feel like you have to make it a win-win situation, right? If two people are not winning, then you can't just be the only one winning, right? If the customer wins and you win, then you both walk away, you're satisfied, right? So that's what trade plus cash really is, right? It's about how do you make the other person satisfied and you can both sort of make money or sell their device. Okay, let's get into chapter 10. How to run paid ads. Starting with free ads on Facebook as a beginner, it might seem daunting to invest in paid advertisements. However, a smart approach is to start with free ads, especially on Facebook. You can post these ads in the various groups. Although Facebook might occasionally take them down due to policy violations, this method proves effective for initial exposure. It's a low-risk way to test your advertising strategy and refine your approach. Scaling with Facebook paid ads. Once you're ready to scale, Facebook paid ads become an invaluable tool. The scalability is a significant advantage. For instance, if you're spending $20 per day, you might attract 7 to 10 leads. Increasing your budget to 50 could potentially bring in 20 to 25 leads daily. This direct correlation between spending and lead generation is what makes paid ads so effective for business growth. Effective ad strategies and content. When crafting your ads, focus on clear direct messages. For example, using captions or images that states "we buy phones and electronics for cash" can be very effective. Highlight your willingness to accept various conditions of devices like locked, cracked, or used, and your readiness to pay cash. This strategy has proven to increase leads significantly. Diversifying with other platforms and viewing ads as investments. Besides Facebook, platforms like Kijiji are also worth exploring for paid advertisements. It's crucial to view ads not just as expenses, but as an investment. While immediate profits might not be evident, the long-term gains in terms of lead generation and business growth are substantial. Rather than letting your money sit, ideally in a bank, investing in ads keeps your funds actively working towards growing your business. So pretty much in this chapter, we talk about, paid ads, right? This is chapter 10. I think, if you're just starting, I think Facebook, you're still able to sort of advertise for free, where you can post that, you buy phones, but also know that, Facebook sometimes doesn't like that because they might take your ad down. You can also do Kijiji as well, too, if you're in Canada, right? I know there's other places, too, in the States where you could do, Craigslist and that kind of thing. But always remember that, if you want to scale your business, you're going to have to run paid ads, right? Because it's all about, your lead generation. What sort of activities are you doing to generate leads? So if you're not running ads, if you're not talking to sellers, that you're not going to be able to generate your business, right? So running an effective ad campaign saying that you buy phones, right? And sort of having a clear image and running multiple campaigns. What you want to really do is you want to test multiple campaigns, right? So what I typically do is I run 10 campaigns and I pretty much see which one is doing well, right? Because you never know. One could do well, other ones could do bad, right? So it's all about testing. Ads, there's really no a way to win ads. It's all about testing and strategizing and implementing different strategies, you know what I mean? So if you're just getting started with ads, I highly recommend you just, you put your first ad out there. You don't start off with low budget, maybe $5 to $10 a day. And then you just sort of work your way up and see how many leads you can get. And then you gotta be able to close them. That's another thing that I see a lot too, is people running ads when they're not able to close them. So you gotta have a CRM system where you can be able to close on those leads right away, right? So that's effective. Let's deep dive into chapter 11. Chapter 11, how to actually quit your job with phone flipping. Understanding your goals and preparing to quit. Before considering quitting your job to focus on phone flipping, it's crucial to have a clear understanding of your goals and a solid plan. It's not recommended to make a sudden leap. In my experience, I took about 3 months of preparation before I was ready. This process involved adhering to 5 key principles, the first of which is understanding and managing your monthly expenses. Number 1, determine and lower your monthly expenses. Start by calculating your monthly expenses. Suppose that they amount to $2,000. Your initial goal should be to reduce those expenses as much as possible. The rationale is simple. Lower expenses means less financial pressure, making the transition to full-time phone flipper smoother and more feasible. This step is about creating a financial cushion for yourself. Number 2, grow your phone flipping profits. The second principle involves scaling your phone flipping profits. Aim to reach a profit margin of 15x to 20x your monthly expenses. For instance, if your expenses are $2,500, target a monthly profit of $4,000 to $5,000. Achieving this requires dedication, especially if you're balancing it with a regular job. Utilize your free time to acquire phones, negotiate deals, and meet as many people as possible to expand your business. Number 3, achieve consistent profit over 3 months. Consistency is key in phone flipping. Before quitting your job, ensure that you suppress your monthly expenses for 3 consecutive months. This consistency is vital for financial stability, as unpredictable income can jeopardize your ability to cover expenses. To accelerate your growth, reinvest a significant portion of your profits into the business. This could involve in spending on advertising or purchasing more phones to flip. Number 4, make the leap. Having followed these steps, you'll be in a strong position to quit your job and focus on phone flipping. Remember, success in this venture requires a mix of passion, determination, and strategic thinking. This isn't just about earning money. It's about regaining control over your time and spending it with your loved ones. Phone flipping enabled me to do just that. And by following these guidelines, it can do the same for you. So that right there, I'm talking about how to be able to sort of transition from, working a job to sort of going full-time entrepreneurship. Like I said, I don't recommend anybody to quit their job, but understand, your expenses, understand how much you're making, and, know those numbers, because, it's important to know your cash flow, because, there's going to be days where it's going to be slow. But if you know your expenses, if you know how much money you're spending each month, you can always, you want to work your way. You want to be able to 15x to 20x that monthly expenses, right? To be able to do more. It's simple. If your expenses are $3,000, you want to be able to at least be making, I said $4,000 to $5,000, but I said if you want to quit your job, you need to be at least hitting at least $8,000, right? Because nowadays, a cost of living, everything is sort of going up. So being able to maintain is going to be crucial. And the only way to do this, you're going to have to really go hard. You're going to have to buy more inventory, right? Talk to more sellers, right? And really just figure out a way to escape, to get out of that matrix, because it's tough. Entrepreneurship, it's not easy. So, but if you have that determination, you have that will, and you make that decision, hey, this is what I want to do long term. I want to focus on, building a future for myself, for my family, and being able to get out of the rat race. I commend you for that, because it takes bold, it takes, determination and willingness to do more in life. And so if you're out for it, go for the challenge. Chapter 12, the Samsung market. Diversifying beyond iPhones, the case for Samsungs. In the world of smartphones retail, diversification is not just a strategy, necessity. While the focus of this book, How to Make Six Figures with iPhones, emphasizes the iPhone brand, it's crucial to acknowledge the significant market segment that prefers Samsung devices. This chapter delves into the emphasis of the Samsung market and why it's lucrative to avenue to exposure alongside iPhones. The affordability edge of Samsung S series. Samsung smartphones, particularly models from the S series, like the S8, the S9, S10, S20, S21, occupy a sweet spot in the market. They are known for their affordability, with prices ranging from $100 to $400, making them accessible to a broader customer base. This price range is particularly attractive in the reselling business, as acquiring these models at a cost of $50 to $100 below market value can almost guarantee a profitable sale. The key lies in understanding the market dynamics and identifying the right purchase and sale opportunities. International appeal. Tapping into the African market. Another compelling reason to include Samsung phones in your business model is the popularity into international markets. Especially in Africa, many customers seek to buy these phones in bulk, intending to send them to family and friends overseas, where Samsung's preferred brand. This demand creates a unique niche for resellers. By categorizing this market, you can tap into bulk sales, which significantly boosts revenue. The trick is to maintain a diverse inventory that caters to various preferences and needs, standing out in the marketplace with Samsung diversity. Lastly, selling Samsung phones can help you stand out in the marketplace. Often saturated with iPhone resellers, this differentiation is not just about offering an alternative, it's about understanding and catering to customers' preferences. Having a range of options available is more than just business strategy. It's a way to connect with different demographics and build a diverse customer base. Remember, in the smartphone resale market, versatility and adaptability are key to success. So yeah, in chapter 12, I'm pretty much talking about, diversifying what you're selling, because if you're only focusing on iPhones, then you're missing out on a large market. Samsungs, people want to buy Samsungs too. I have people literally who are sending them back home to Africa, places that, they're only used to Samsung. Sometimes they want to buy 5 to 10 phones off me, right? And then right there, I could just sell it to one person. I don't even got to go to 5 people. Right. Same thing, with people, when you go to the Apple store, what do they sell? They don't just sell only iPhones. They sell iPads, MacBooks, Apple Watches. So you want to be able to diversify what you're selling. You don't want to just focus on one thing. So it's about having different varieties, different things you can sell. So people can come back to you. They'd be like, oh, I could just get everything at once. They don't have to go to somewhere else to be able to get different things. So, the Samsung market is a sleeper. iPads, same thing with AirPods, even laptops, there's so much money to be made in these markets that most people have no idea they exist. So if you're able to tap into them, you could become a game changer. Chapter 13, Mastering the Resale Game, the Path to Entrepreneurial Freedom, the dawn of the new resale opportunities. As we conclude this chapter on the future of resale market, it's essential to recognize that this sector is just the beginning of much larger opportunities. Recently, I ventured into flipping PlayStation 5s and consoles and Nintendo Switches. Thought I haven't perfected this like I have with phones. The principle remains the same. $50 to $100 below the market value and sell for a profit. The demand for video games is notable high, offering a lucrative opportunity for those willing to seize it. Number 2, an entrepreneur's vision, seeing potential everywhere. Growing up as a hustler, I've always seen the potential in everything around me, whether it's water bottles or a TV. My first thought was never about consumption, but about how to double my investment. This entrepreneurial mindset is about recognizing opportunities everywhere and acting upon them. As the retail giants continue to grow, I often wonder, why not me? The difference is they started 20 years ago, but today in the information age, everything is accessible. Online, providing a ripe environment for starting in the resale market. Number 3, expanding resale market, embracing seller's mindset. I firmly believe the resale market will continue to expand. There will always be consumers eager to purchase what you're selling. My approach has always been to be a seller, not a buyer. The mindset of ownership and focusing on profits flipping. The mindset of ownership and focusing on profits, flipping and returning on investments, ROI, is crucial. With the resources available today like smartphones and the internet, there are no excuses. It's vital to understand your purpose and drive. For me, it's about providing for my family and building an empire so my future children won't have to work. Number 4, the pursuit of freedom through reselling. True freedom, in my view, is having a passive income, enabling a laid-back life while still earning. This requires hard work, dedication, not to reap the benefits later. The reseller market is vast, and there are always people waiting to buy what you're selling. The key is to take action and step into the expensive market with confidence and determination. Conclusion. This book equips you with strategies to master iPhone reselling, giving you control of your financial future. Each chapter builds your skills from negotiating to market expansion, empowering you in your entrepreneurial journey. As you go in this field, your enhanced communication and business skills can positively impact your relationship, fostering better understanding and connection with others. What was once daunting, like starting your own business, achieving financial freedom, is now within reach. Thanks to the practical knowledge and tools you've gained, the more you apply these techniques, the easier and more effective they become. Reselling becomes not just a skill, but a part of your lifestyle. You are now equipped to transform your career and life. Embrace the lessons from this book. Start your reselling journey with confidence. This is the moment to turn your aspiration into reality. You have the knowledge. Now make it happen. So thank you so much for listening. This is the audiobook version, podcast version, how to make 6 figures reselling iPhones. I put, a lot of effort into this book. I've been doing this for the last 3 years now, and I just believe that everybody has the same capabilities to get into this business model. There's a lot of potential, like I mentioned in the last episode here, the last chapter. People can get into this, with a little as $100 and be able to scale. Like, you don't need a lot of money to get into this business model. And like I said, if you're hungry and you're determined and you want something for change, I believe, reselling is just starting, because everything, the fundamental in business is reselling. We buy low and sell high, right? But we have to know principles. We have to know strategy. We have to have a game plan to what we're doing, right? So in this book, I pretty much break down from step A to step Z on how to get started into the business. So if you found this helpful and, you want to get to know more about this business model and how you can, work with me one-on-one, all you have to do is you can go to Instagram, direct message me with the word coach at Hanny, and I'm able to help you out and see how we can sort of come up with a strategy. So yeah, if you found this book helpful, make sure to like and follow and stay tuned for more. And like I said, go out there, man, keep flipping and, strive to become the best and always go for more and never settle, man. So my name is Hanny. This is how to make 6 figures reselling iPhones.